Yo gamer, Nemi here and welcome to another Tekken 7 short tutorial video. And today my boys, we're going to be taking a look at how to block lows or just how to improve your low blocking game in Tekken 7. So now if you're new or like a beginner or intermediate, one thing you should learn about Tekken is that lows play a huge role on what can make and break a character, or like what makes a character good. Most of the time it's how good their lows are. Like think of a 2D game, right? For a 2D game, like Injustice for a second, for example, or Street Fighter, you also have to take a look at the character's overheads, right? Do they have good overheads? Because that can make a character good. So it's kind of like the same thing on Tekken, but really not to the same extent, because in Tekken we do have some characters that don't really have good lows, but they make that up by having stuff like good grabs and strong mids. But lows are without a doubt the strongest tools that exist in a Tekken game. And so a lot of people find it difficult to block lows, as we saw from my poll. I posted a poll a few days ago on what people struggle with a lot in Tekken, and I believe the highest win was blocking lows. So most of us, me included, struggle a lot at blocking lows. But now there are some ways in which you can mitigate this, right? You have to practice and take a lot of things into consideration before just going into a match and hoping you can start blocking all the fucking lows that your opponent is throwing out. Like, it's just not possible. You have to do some research, practice, and just start getting good. So this is why you're here, and this is why I have some tips for you guys on how to improve at your low blocking game. Okay, so tip number 1. First of all, you have to study the lows of what particular character you're facing. You can't block lows that you've never seen before, or you can't block lows that you don't know about. This is like basic 101. You have to research and know which lows the particular character has, which lows are strong and which are weak. So for example, I have Paul here. So I know for the fact that Paul has a couple of lows in his arsenal, right? He has quarter circle forward 3, which is his best low without a doubt. He has side step 3. He has back 4, and he has demo man. He also has full crouch down forward 1+2, but this is his like a weak low reactable. And also, what you must learn as well is which lows are reactable and which lows cannot be reacted. Now what I mean by this, there are lows that come out slower than other lows. This low is very, very slow to the point that you can actually see the animation, right, and actually block it without having to guess. But you can't do the same for a move like side step 3. You have to pretty much guess, on when he's going to throw out this low. So now, from this arsenal, you know that Paul has a back 4, he has a side step 3, right? He has a quarter circle forward 3, and he has a full crouch down forward 1+2. So now, how do you start learning how to defend against these lows? So firstly, let's start with quarter circle forward 3. So now, I know that this low comes out of a quarter circle forward motion, right? So the thing about this low is, it depends on how fast a Paul player does this low. So for example, a Paul can do down quarter circle forward, and you can see the animation of the crouch animation. So you have a feeling that he's going to throw out this low, right? And you also have to look at the range of the low, right? Like how is the range of this low? So for example, quarter circle forward 3 with Paul is like range 1, right? Range 1. So at this range, he is most likely going to throw out the low. And at like range 1.5 to like range 2, he has to come in from far and do the low. So now, I'm sure you guys have seen Paul players use this move a lot. Quarter circle forward 4, right? So quarter circle forward 3+4? Yeah, quarter circle forward 3+4. You have seen Paul players use this move a lot. So the reason why Pauls use this move, which is a mid and safe, is it's a mix-up. It's a mix-up with the quarter circle forward 3. Because a lot of people know that when a Paul crouches in your face, there's a high chance he's going to throw out this low, right? So that's how you can go about studying character lows. So with Paul, for example, quarter circle forward 3, it's basically more of a mix-up and range situation. Look at the range and look at, the crouch dash, the animation of the crouch dash that's when you know that he's most likely going to throw out a quarter circle forward 3. Now, I'm just using Poe's law as a reference. There are so many laws in this game where a character can mix it up with a mid, just throw you off and like mess up your timing. So guys, just keep in mind, this is not specific to only Poe, it's just an example. I'm using it for reference. Another example, which is kind of the same thing, is sidestep 3. So now, this law only comes out from a sidestep. The thing about this law is he has to be point blank range, or like it's like range 0.1. This is like range 0.5, right? Or like range 1, I guess. Yeah, range 1 as well, right? And the thing about this law is, if you whiff this law, there's a high chance you're getting punished, right? It's very bad on whiff. The whiff recovery, it takes forever. So a Poe is highly likely doing this when they're in your face and when they sidestep. So again, Poe has a famous mid called Hammer of the Gods, which is this one. Forward 1 plus 2. I think it's like plus 1 or something. I don't play Poe. So now you'll see Poe players sidestep, then throw Hammer of the Gods, right? So just like the quarter circle forward 4 being a mix up to the quarter circle forward 3 law, the forward 1 plus 2 is a mix up to the sidestep 3 law, right? So a Poe can do, for example, he does quarter circle 4, he does forward 1 plus 2. Forward 1 plus 2 plus he'll sidestep and either go low or do it again. This is a 50-50 mix up with Poe, right? So now you have that knowledge that, okay, when Poe sidesteps here, he's either going to go for sidestep 3 or sidestep forward 1 plus 2. So now that's like the first way in which you can practice those kind of laws, on how to block those kind of laws. So now let me try to show you, give you guys an example of another character that has kind of the same mix-up as law. So for example, let's say Horang, right? We also go against Horang. Oh, this is from my side. Simple select, Lars, Horang. Okay, default 4. Okay, so Horang, just like Poe, has a sidestep 4 move, which is a low. I believe it leaves you in crouch on hit. It's like super plus. You can like set up like some disgusting mix-ups from it, right? So like Horang also has this law, which is exactly like Poe sidestep 3, right? So now you know, like if Horang steps in your face, he's probably trying to go for this law, right? The thing is, he has a mix-up with the mid. So Horang has slide 3-4. Right, so Horang players can mix it up with like a slide 3-4, right? They say they do forward 3, dash up sidestep 4, right? They can do forward 3, dash up sidestep 3 plus 4 as a mix-up, right? So now there are so many characters that have this kind of low mix-ups. So you have to do some research, see which laws you can try and just guess to block, right? You can't react to every law in Tekken. This is one thing you must keep in mind. You can't react to every law in Tekken. Some laws are just too quick. They come out so fast, you can't react, you just have to guess. And Horang is sidestep 4 is one of those examples. Okay, so now that's like the first tip I can give you guys on blocking laws. Secondly, this is an easy tip as well, is flow charting. Flow charting. Now, when I say flow charting, I mean, now this, okay, I think I have to make a whole tutorial on this when it comes to flow charting. Now this comes to reading your opponent. Reading your opponent, one of the most important things in Tekken as well when it comes to getting good. Because if you read their opponent, you have their timing down. One, you can study their habits, right? I'm sure you guys have heard the phrase, oh, he's been downloaded, download complete. That's what it's all about. Now what I mean by this, for example, let's say Horang does down forward 1, right? Down forward 1 is like a generic check that like 90% of the entire cast of Tekken has. It's like a check. It just checks you, see how you're going to react. So like think of down forward 1 as, how can I put it? The opening, like the book cover of a book you're about to read, right? Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire on the cover of the book. Think of that as the title. So this is a title to like Lars' entire moveset, right? Horang is like trying to study, trying to open you up and see what you're going to do after he throws out this down forward one. Like, this down forward one is the title of the book. It's the Goblet of Fire. Harry Potter, the Goblet of Fire. So that's what I mean by that, right? He's trying to see how you're going to react after he throws out the down forward one. Now, the thing is, this works both ways. On the receiving end, as the last player, let's say I'm Horang, this is the last player. So you, as the last player, are trying to see what this Horang player is doing after this down forward one. So now, one thing people do in this game is flowchart after down forward one. They're not just down forward one, after like even one jab, right? Something forward three. What are they going to do after they do stuff like this? So for example, if Horang player would do down forward one into down 3-4, right? This is a flowchart. So now, let's say you've studied the Horang. Now you've noticed that, okay, he's going for down 3-4 a lot after down forward one. So now, how are you going to adjust? How are you going to adjust after knowing that source of information? You are going to now block low, right? You are now going to block low. So that's what I mean by reading your opponent. Try to read their habits, right? There's a very low chance that a good Tekken player is going to mix up their lows. Most of the times, especially at lower ranks, people just flowchart. They do the same shit over and over again. And this is what really differentiates a good player from an average player, or a good player from a bad player. So for example, in my previous video, where I was fighting an Anna, with Lars. So what this Anna was doing is she always went for the snake edge, which is like down back 3, after Chaos Judgment low, that low she has. Let me just switch to Anna and just show you guys. Do I play Anna though? Do I know what Anna does? Anna Williams. I kind of like Anna actually. I'll try playing more Anna as well. Man, I just love so many characters in this damn game. I don't really know who to play at times. So anyway, this Anna player was like hella flowcharting. Like, she was just doing the same thing over and over again. And it took me a while to realize that, right? Because like I said about downloading, people say it takes about three matches, 3 rounds to download an opponent for like top players. So I noticed that really late, when I should have noticed that like really fast instead. So how do that low has? Is it down 3-3? Yeah. And then snake edge? Yeah. So this Anna player was doing this all the damn time, right? Then snake edge. So she did this like 4 or 5 times. Then I noticed that, okay, she's not really mixing me up. She's just doing the same things over and over again. And I started blocking that low. I blocked it like twice, if I remember correctly. I blocked it like twice, and then the matches ended. Because I'm sure he noticed that, okay, this guy is too good, and he's like blocking everything. So that's what I mean by reading your opponent. Try to study your opponent's bad habits, right? The flowcharts. People flowchart in this game, and it's so... Bro, like, I don't really know how much emphasis I can put on this. Try to study your opponent. Read the habits, especially of the lows. What are they doing before they throw out that particular low that you keep getting hit by, right? There has to be one thing, at least one flowchart that your opponent is doing that you really have to get a hang on. So I can't really emphasize a lot on this, guys. Please, you have to read your opponent. You won't just magically block lows. No, you have to make some reads. This is my second tip on like blocking lows and how to improve a low blocking game. Thirdly, this one again is also a basic tip, but don't really forget about this, is a life lead. Always look at your life lead, right? Let's say you as a last player versus me, the Anna player, right? You as a last player have a hella life. Let's say you have 50% health. I have 10% health with rage on, right? So think of the possibilities. First of all, look at the character. Okay, what does this character have that they can use to make a comeback in this particular situation? Because I have the life lead, they just have rage and a very, small slither of health. So what are they going to do to try and make that comeback? Rage is not enough. Trust me, guys, rage is not enough. This heavily depends on the character as well. So Anna, for example, Anna has a spiking rage drive, which is not really scary unless she gets you in a combo, right? It's not a sort of a rage drive, kind of like Steve or Alisa maybe to some extent, or Kazuya. It's not that kind of rage drive that can get 50% of your health just by you getting hit, right? It's not that good of rage drive. So outside of the rage drive, what else does Anna have that she can use to make a comeback on me? It's the lows. It's the lows. So think to yourself, okay, what cheap ass low does Anna have that she's going to use to try and make a comeback? The hell sweep. First of all, the hell sweep. So just know that Anna is basically going to use this if she has a low deficit. To prove this, you guys have seen Arzan Ash's Zafina and how many times he's landed that snake edge of hers. Now, quite alright, Zafina's snake edge has a weird animation. It might be difficult to react to, but I'm just using that as a reference or as an example as to what people do when they have a life deficit and they try to like make a comeback, right? So Anna will start throwing out like hella lows as well. How do you do her? Yeah, Anna's will start throwing this out a lot. Boom, you know, side step, like plus frames, or do stuff like quarter circle forward one, right? Lows, 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 because they have a life deficit. Just keep that in mind. Every time you have a life lead, be patient. Just try to see what the opponent does, because you being aggressive when you have a life lead is just basically giving your opponent a chance, or like sidestep on you and launch punish you and stuff like that. So when they have a life deficit, there's a high chance they're going to go for like lows. These are both fast lows and slow lows. So always keep that in mind. Just like watch videos, guys, watch pro players, and you try to get what I mean. That's my third advice. That's my third tip, guys. And this one, this one is a basically known fact, but as for like beginner players, intermediate players, you might have not known this. So I really hope I'm getting to you guys. I really hope so. Fourthly, this is another basic tip. Just record all the lows that you're trying to study of a character. So for Anna, I can record down forward. Sorry, I can do down forward 1, down forward 4. I can do record this down forward 1, snake edge. I can record this to like down forward 1, down 4 4. So is it down back 4 3? Down forward 1, down forward 4 3. Okay, then put it at 50-50. So now, amongst all these three laws, there are 2 that are reactable and 1 that is not reactable. So the hell sweep is reactable and the down back 4 is reactable. So I should be getting hit by only the down back 4, right? So for example, I blocked that. Okay, that was too fast for me to react. I blocked that. I can't block that, it's too fast. Snake edge again, I blocked that. Okay, I blocked that, surprising. No. Again. So that's my idea, guys. Let's try to mix up lows, right? For example, lows that are reactable and lows that are not reactable. You are going to get hit by lows that are not reactable, but you should block all the lows that are not reactable. You have to practice this. This is not an option. Like, this is not a choice. You have to practice this. You can put Brian and put low soccer kick and snake edge. Put that on a 50-50 record and try to block. Try to always block the snake edge. That's how you practice blocking these slow ass lows. Because we do get hit by slow lows. Even top players do get hit by slow lows at certain times because you don't expect it, and sometimes you just caught off guard. But my point is, these are some of the laws you must learn how to block and punish. Moving on, this one I kind of spoke about, but it's in punishment training, right? The CPU does have some laws recorded. So good to go mid here. You can just try to ignore all the mids if you want. Just try to punish all the laws that the computer does. Okay, this is a low mid again. Okay, she's going to go mid here, mid again, go low. So if you want, you can just untick, how do I, yeah, you can untick which moves you don't want the computer to do. So here I'm going to leave only the laws, snake edge on, down back 4, doing chaos judgment PQ, usually 4. Forward 3, rising 2, forward 4, full crouch, slap. It's a sweep or the full right handing, so okay, it's a mid. No, okay, begin training. So now these are only the lows, right? And because I had to only go low. You see how good punishment training is, guys. Very underrated. Punishment training is really good, especially for like intermediate players and beginners. Wait, why is she only doing snake edge though? Is it the only law? No. Why is she only doing snake edge? Do something else. Hello, Anna? Nani? Oi! Oi! Okay, there we go. It has to be randomized. I think it's on 100% for all of them. So maybe that's why. So, but like anyway guys, in punishment training, you can disable all the mids and just put all the lows, because every low has a different punish, right? The basic punish for all the lows is like a standing 4, right? But there are some lows, if you guys know about me, I don't really like talking about frame data, because frame data is like very intimidating. For a beginner player, numbers is not a good way to start for them. But for the sake of it, I'm just going to talk about it, right? So different laws have different punishment frames, or different frame data, depending on what type of law they throw out. There's some laws that are like launch punishable, like the snake edge I showed you guys. There are some laws that are not launch punishable, but a little bit more punishable than just getting standing 4, right? There are laws that are like -13, so you can get a punish like this, for example. This is a 13 frame punish from Lars, from raw standing. So you have to learn this as well. But for now, as a beginner, just try not to focus on this. Right? Try to use the punish that your character has from crouch, like a standing 4, and just try to block that. And for launch punishable moves, use your character specific launch punisher to punish launch punishable moves, at least for now. So punishment training, disable all the mids, just set all the lows and try to punish all of them. The CPU actually even shows you the recommended punish for a particular character, so put that into practice mode. Now guys, these are some of the basic training tips or training tools that you can use to block certain mids, certain lows in the game. Like this will just improve your game. Just these alone, trust me, will improve your game. But when it comes to blocking lows, guys, there are so many factors that need to be taken into consideration. When it comes to like high level to top intermediate players, high level players like pro players, there are a lot of different things that come into place. Stuff like sidestep block, backdash block, right? You have buffer low parry, dash in buffer low parry. So I'm buffering a low parry here, backdash low parry buffer. These are like super sweaty, but I don't want you guys to focus on this for now, especially for like beginner players. Just try to focus on the basics first before you get to this level. Like this is like such stuff, because there are some laws that you can beat by sidestep ducking, sidestep twitch ducking, sidestep like twitch low parry ducking. There's a lot. But as a beginner, again guys, try to focus on these 5 tips I've shown you, and trust me, you will improve your gameplay. It will improve your gameplay massively. Oh man, like I really hope this is. Man, I hope I'm getting to one of you. I really hope, because I don't really like it when people say they're really bad at the game, Tekken is hard. Like, it has to be. Tekken is unforgiving. Trust me guys, I know. Tekken is unforgiving. It has no tutorial. The tips are very, like, it's bare bones when it comes to like tips and stuff. These crazy ass laws, you have grabs and all that. I know, Tekken is hard, but guys, again, it just takes time. Take your time, one day at a time, you will get to that level. Trust me. Keep on practicing. So anyway guys, I really hope I got to like 1 or 2 of you. Practice. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed my video. I don't know what I'll look at next. Maybe sidestepping more, or grabs, throw break. We'll see. So leave a like if you enjoyed my video. Please, it helps with the algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you again for your support. You guys have been, man, it's been insane. I can't thank you enough. And yeah, GG my boys, take care.